Hello YouTube land. So today what I want to talk about are Glock 19 holsters that I use and why I use them. So let's just start with the normal inside the waistband EDC type holsters that I use. These would be made from Gundo holsters, Gundo, and these are just two inside the waistband holsters. I usually carry two Glock 19s, one on each hip, one on each side. What I like about these is the 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 having the XC1 lights on Glock 19 allows me to carry either with the light or without the light. So typically this Glock 19, which I've shown in a couple other videos, is what I carry on my right side, and this Glock 19 Gen 3 is what I carry on my left side. And you'll notice this does not have a light on it. However, that doesn't cause any sort of issues with it being held in the holster. And so it's kind of versatile having that type of light there. So they're the inside waistband holsters I use. I use the soft belt loops, and for the most part I like them. I've heard of the clips failing a lot. Personally, I've had that happen a few times, but what I will say is, if you look right here, you can see how damaged that clip is. That's from my first motorcycle accident, where I was carrying this Glock 17 cut down to a 19 frame. And the gun didn't leave the holster, and the holster stayed on me the entire time. Now, Gundo was very, very nice and sent me out another clip for free. Very nice people, once I explained them what had happened. I just put this clip on here just for basically demonstration purposes. Just to show that it can take an abuse and still stay on. Over time, other clips from other companies I have had issues with, and that's one of the big reasons why I stay with the soft loops right here. And to me, it just seems to work better. Now, that's for the everyday carry. I prefer Kydex because it's easier to reholster. And although, God forbid, I find myself in a gunfight, reholstering is going to be one of the last things I'm concerned about. But when you go out for training or for practice, a big issue is that with a lot of leather holsters or other type of holsters, or even just the clip draw that some people put just on the gun. The problem with that I've found is it's a lot harder to reholster. And since it's harder to reholster when you're on the range, whether it be practice or if you're out at a training course, you really don't want to unholster that gun all the time. So then you find yourself practicing just from like the third position draw all the time because it's such a pain to get it back in there. Well, you need to be practicing how to draw from your holster. So by having a hard Kydex one like that, it's easy to go back in and of course come back out. So let's talk about the war belt, or whatever you want to call it, type belt thing, you know. So originally I had this holster on here, on this Safariland leg drop, and both of these holsters are also made by Gundo, Gundo. Not getting paid by them, nothing like that, but it's just what I like, so you know, shout out to them. So originally I had this holster on here on this leg drop platform from Safariland, and it was fine for the most part. The biggest issue is not having a retention, especially now when it's down on your basically upper thigh. I actually had the gun come out a couple of times, and that's not okay as far as I'm concerned. So I went over to a retention system. Now this one is just a little thumb brake right here. Push that, gun comes out, and you're good to go. Flip the bail back up when you're done, so this way you're always drawing properly. Holsters made it through 2 rifle classes so far, no issues there. As far as going through classes or whatever, I've been carrying this holster for 2 years now. 2015, 3 years actually, almost. And you see that one's a little bit more worn than this one. So I've been carrying a Glock 19 on my left hip for a little bit less than that. This has been through every course I've been through, this particular holster. So it'd be every pistol course I've had this holster on, and every rifle course for the first day I've had this holster on, because first day I wear just inside the waistband stuff rifle mags inside my pockets, and then second day I go full loadout with plate carrier, chest rig, and this type of belt setup. So for right now, for the most part, I'm using these two holsters, and then whenever I have to put on the chest rig, all that good fun stuff, I use this holster. Just go away. This can go away. Now, one thing I want to talk about real quick is just for around the house, you know, day off, like not going anywhere and doing yard work or whatever. Kind of just want to try this thing out, and it's a regular Glock holster. I think Sport or something like that they call it. It was $13 on Amazon. Each one of these holsters, I believe, was about $70. I think this one was about $90 or so because of the bail and everything, the retention system. Which, by the way, this will mate up to any Safariland thing right there. Same thing as this one. So that's kind of cool that Gundo offers that. Anyway, getting back on track. So I want something that was outside the waistband, maybe just a little bit more comfortable as far as moving around a lot, picking up a lot of stuff, you know, whatever it might be yard work wise and everything, or even, quite honestly, snow blowing, whatever it might be around the house. So I want an outside waistband holster. This is $13. So far it works really well as far as retaining the pistol. Haven't had an issue there. Of course, you are going to have an issue as far as I'm not going to be able to stuff this one in there because it has a light on it. And that's not really so much of an issue, especially because I have the other Glock 19 I carry all the time without a light on it. Almost like I planned it that way. And so far this thing is actually really comfortable to wear. It retains the pistol really well in any position I'm in, working, everything like that around my house. Have not had an issue with this thing. And for $13, I don't think you can really beat it. Now, the one issue or one problem that you might have, of course, that in my circumstance I'm not concerned about, is it prints really bad. And even with the Glock 19, this is a Glock 17 dummy gun, but even with the Glock 19, good retention system on there, it sticks out a little bit. And so if you imagine your belt line is right about here, which, by the way, you can set it up for almost any size belt that you can think of, up to 2 inch, which is really cool. Problem is that you see your belt line would be right about here. At least for me, I'm a short fat guy, even though still my shirt will ride up and you'll see everything. So, like, screw printing, but, you know, there we go. Screw printing, but you will actually start showing off part of your gun. So if you're going to wear it around town or something like that, unless you have a longer shirt, or it's winter time and you got the coat on or something like that, I probably wouldn't recommend this as far as concealed carry. But again, around the house for $13, I don't think you can beat that thing. And that is a actual Glock product. So yeah, so that's, I think I pretty much touched on everything that I want to touch on. Real quick. Why do I think holster making videos are important? Because this is a bin with about $1,000 worth of fucking holsters in it. So These are things, now this is also for different guns, not just Glocks, but these are holsters that I've found through the years that at first I would have thought they were really good, bought them, put them on, said, hey man, that's great. A week later found out it's a piece of shit. Please talk to somebody that actually knows what they're talking about. Talk to someone that isn't carrying an Uncle Mike's fucking holster. You know? Galco's a really good product. Gundo's a really good product. I believe Viper holsters, NSR Tactical, Green Force Tactical, they all make really good holsters. Part of the problem too is you kind of have to find a holster that's good for you, which is one of the reasons why I keep those holsters there. What I'll do is when someone's getting into shooting, starting to get into carrying, whatever it is, I'll let them try those things out. And every once in a while somebody will say, hey man, this one really fits me well. Then they can keep it. I really don't care. If somebody gets use out of it, then they get use out of it. But find a holster that fits you right. Just because these fit me really well and work really well for me doesn't mean that it will fit you well. And one thing, just really slightly off topic anyway, that I'd like to talk about is I hear a lot of people talking about how, and obviously I guess you can call me a Glock fanboy, whatever, I don't care. I hear a lot of people talking about, well, the Glock is too squared for me, and so it's uncomfortable inside of my waistband, and so Glock is garbage. But the Smith M&P or the XD or whatever it is, insert name here, is rounded, so it's very comfortable for me. Well, go fuck off, because you don't actually carry a gun. Or at least you don't carry a gun every day, day in, out, just because you know that you need to. You carry it to show off. That's what my opinion is on that. Because once you stuff this gun inside of a holster, regardless of whether it's a fucking XD or Glock or Smith & Wesson or piece of shit Ruger, don't buy Ruger, please. It's a public service announcement if I ever heard of one. It's now rounded from the holster. Make sure also when you're buying a holster that it's rounded out a little bit. These are a little bit harder edges here, and anything like this one, you can see how much further that one sticks out, simply because it has the TLR1 on it. The hard edge will come out and it'll poke out my knife, and then my knife sticks all out weird. It's a personal thing again. But make sure it has rounded edges. If it's rounded edges, then it's not going to put so much pressure on you all the time. So that's pretty much it. Sorry, I know the dehumidifier was kicking on earlier, so hopefully sound quality isn't too terrible. That's pretty much it, and I appreciate your time, and have a great day.